Good morning. I'm misanthropic and out at coffee. My screen name. And my mood, as I said earlier in my first video. This is my second video, and I would like to briefly explain my mannerisms and my speech. March of 2020. I suffered a case of COVID-19 and it caused 5 strokes, which it took me a while to recover from. During the stroke, I was standing, and it caused me to fall, and I extensively fractured my skull too. So I am now what I am. So I'll start my video. It's about solutions to the predicament we're in. So as humanity's DNA indelibly archives our contact with a virus apparently of our own creation, thank you, Dr. Fauci, we risks Earth's remaining genomes because of capitalism. So here we go on the video. I've spent a lot of time watching YouTube over the years, and the internet in general, learning much more than I learned in my public school experience in the 70s and the 80s. I concentrate on experts in the fields because I value the opinions of experts in the fields. We should follow the experts is something I usually feel in my heart. Not be deceived by them, but follow them. There's instances in history where all it takes is 1 or 2 experts to derail the opinions and views of all the experts. Like the time where lead was put in gasoline and kept in gasoline because 1 or 2 experts were before Congress stating that it was safe and necessary and good. And there were even ads in Harper's magazines and magazines of the time, which I've seen because I'm kind of old, touting the glory of white lead in paint. Well, and then we came to the experts in Congress that would testify that tobacco and cigarettes are safe. We must believe those few experts and not the vast majority over there saying that's bullshit. We got to believe the ones in Congress. Then we also had the experts that testified that Roundup was safe. Now we have experts before Congress that say all nuclear energy is bad. And that's what we believe, because that's the narrative. Even though the vast majority of scientists out there say that thorium is good and safe if it's in the form of a thorium lifter reactor. But we can't discuss that because there's, in this case, only one scientist testifying before Congress that all nuclear is bad until we wait for fusion. That the uranium technology we have today is just a placeholder until we get to fusion. We don't have ignition for fusion coming along quick, although a few days ago there was something on the BBC saying that they had achieved some level of ignition just recently, but not full ignition by any means. That's still way off. But there's one expert testifies that the current uranium technology is simply a placeholder. It'll be safe when we get to fusion, don't worry. That's all it takes to derail all of the work that's been done by a large number of scientists. So we still believe the narrative of the capitalist overlords that all nuclear is bad simply because we use nuclear fission of uranium in order to get plutonium for bombs. Therefore, we must not look further. Manipulation of narrative. Manipulation of dissent. So we all suffer from. Learned helplessness. That's what we're bred into. Have a Darwinism of the working class. But I rely on the experts in the field, and I also have in my list of channels, under my channel tab, I put the channels that I've found very valuable over the years because they're experts in the field. And since my passion is the Anthropocene and climate change, the British Antarctic Survey is on my list. You should check the list out because that's where I've gotten much of my channels from, is the lists of other people's. And it breaks the bubble, broadens horizons a bit, especially when that list comes from people you find value in their opinion. Like Malin Baker, I love his opinion. It's really broadened my horizons a bit, opened my eyes. And Russell Brand, oh, awesome. I really respect his work, and it touches my heart. And Richard Wolff, I really like democracy at work. I love the concept. I got some problems with his narrow view of anarchism. And it's easy to conflate all the types of anarchism to make it all look bad. I mean, according to some of the things Richard Wolff said in his recent segment about fascism, it seems like he thinks that anarchists are all for the abolition of all government. But I remember Bakunin, his method of choosing leadership, he wrote about it being you choose from the experts in the field that you need to address. Like if you need to build a building, you pick an expert in the field of architecture. Or if you need some scientist in the field of nuclear physics, you find experts in that field. You don't find an expert baker, a calligrapher. It doesn't make sense. But it's counterintuitive to think that if you have a way of choosing leadership, you don't have government. It's not the absence of government. You can conflate anarcho-capitalism and transhumanism and all those freaks with agorism. Make it look bad. Or Bakunin's selection of leadership. It wasn't until Marx went to the United States and got infected with capitalism that we ended up with the Soviet Union. Bakunin was winning the argument in Europe at the time. Things would have been different with a system of anarchy. A system. That's not government. How? There's systems within anarchism. You can use that in a political party to make it immune to corruption of capitalism. A horizontally structured party resists corruption where a top-down hierarchy like we have today does not. Today our political parties are structured top-down. Makes it easy to corrupt. That's the corporate way. That's the corporate structure. So, I watch Sagar and Crystal on Breaking Points. I love their work. I loved their work back when they were on the Hill, although I didn't like the Hill. I did love their work. And on Breaking Points they have a lot more freedom, and I really respect their work now. One of my favorite content creators here. And Russell Brand, I think I've mentioned. Now Crystal has been talking about the duopoly, and I totally respect her views on the problem being that we're stuck as a society with this horrible system. But duopoly is the wrong word, because it's not the two-party system that dooms us, because we have more than two parties. We've got socialist parties, we've got the Green Party, we've got the People's Party. That's third party, well, not three parties, that's third parties. It's more than two, more than a duopoly. So even the term duopoly kind of throws a wrench in the whole debate, in the whole seeking of a solution. It's not a duopoly. The problem is the structure of the parties that we have is top down. Now here's where I might get banned. On my second video, I am going to talk about the theft of our election. We did have our election stolen from us, people. It was in Iowa. The DNC stole the election from Bernie Sanders and therefore stole the election from all of us, or many of us anyway, not all. There's still a lot of neoliberals out there, unfortunately, those moderate Republicans. But from the working people, we lost the election. It was taken from us because somebody came up with a software to count the voting of the primary. Wonder who that was. Well, some people are covering it, but not much. Everything's September 6th and all that. But our election was stolen in Iowa, and we got Biden instead of Sanders. I was mad, and so were many people. In fact, it was about a year ago. Yeah, almost a year ago. I was so mad the way things came out of the election. Trump, oh God. That I looked online and found the Movement for a People's Party. I was a Jimmy Dore fan after I got the shirt from Movement for a People's Party because his name was on the back. I didn't even know about Jimmy Dore until then. So I started watching this show. Avid supporter of the Movement for a People's Party. I would get on live chats and super chats and say, nominate Richard Wolff to the People's Party. Because I like Richard Wolff. I really do still. Like I said, a little narrow on his definition of anarchism, but his ideas about democracy in the workplace as being a really good movement, hell yeah. Yeah. But, like many others, seeking hope in our political system, we went to the Movement for a People's Party because they promised a horizontal structure, not a top-down structure. We bought into it. It was a giant bait and switch grift because the National Party is not even still to this day a political party. They are not registered as a political party. They're registered as a political action committee. Nick Brana has stepped down, but he's still attached at the hip to the National Party. His father is still the treasurer. No corruption. No grift. Thousands of people volunteered and became activists on the state level. The membership on the national is nothing now. Nobody buys into the grift right now because its publicity is down to nothing until, you know, they're needed again to hem in all the dissent. But right now, all those thousands of activists in the different states, they were purged from the People's Party by Nick Brana at the Summit Solution. U.S. Summit Solutions was almost just over a year ago. We're almost to the year anniversary of that fiasco. Don't know how many people remember that, but at the Solution Summit, Nick Brana felt uncomfortable with some of the activists that were working for KRTD Media, who hosted the Solution Summit. And since Nick Brana felt uncomfortable with these activists, he demanded that they be fired through Stef Zamorano and Jimmy Dore. All-American Socialist. He did a video, or several, about the blackmail of KRTD Media to fire the activist Kamilah Harris by Stef Zamorano. It happened. Many of the content creators that participated in the Solution Summit were made aware of the demands during a meeting and looked the other way, have a blind eye, continue to keep a blind eye because they like their subscription, their subscribers, their viewership. They like the service they are provided by Indie Left News to promote their videos of all of their heart's content. If their subject matter is Chile or Peru or Venezuela or Nicaragua, Canada, doesn't matter. You're free to create and have things promoted as long as you keep quiet about the grift that you're aware of. You know it happened. You were in the meetings. Convo Couch. I heard from Shane that you were aware of it. But as long as all the services provided by Indie Left News promote your videos, you'll turn and not look. You'll keep quiet about the grift, even though the grift is very damaging because thousands of people fell for it. State organizations were purged by the national organization this past year. The first purging happened was the purging of the petitioners of the MPP. The MPP petitioners. There's a website for it. The Black Voter Circle. Kamilah Harris was a member of that. They demanded that she be fired or they wouldn't show up. They wouldn't show up meaning Jimmy Dore, Stef Zamorano, Nick Brana. Now, Howie Hawkins from the Green Party probably was not aware of any of this. I guess that having the name of the Green Party on the Solution Summit elevated the stature of the MPP. Sad. Because we really did want a horizontally structured party. We really had hope. After the first purging of all of the petitioners, Then the state organizations were purged, like the People's Party of Washington State and the elected chair of that party, Mark Nixon, who won very tough elections in Washington State, who fought for the horizontal structure of the party, and many others did, and they were so discontented by the grift and the lies from the National Party that they too were purged last year from the ranks. That was about summer last year. A waste of all of these people, all of these activists that could be changing things for the positive, giving us a horizontally structured party, thrown away because you have to control dissent. This indie left media really seems like an assignment more than a business. Hem up the dissent. Hem up the content creators so that they can create whatever they want as long as they protect the grift now and when it counts. In 2024. Gotta promote the party then. Nick Brana's party, not the state ones that don't comply. Many of those state organizations last year formed the United People's Assembly, which I joined because I was finally allowed input. I couldn't even contact anybody with the MPP off their website. Only thing the website allows is you to volunteer, not to have any input. Under the United People's Assembly, we were debating election reform, talking about the star rating system as a primary election, open primaries with star rating, because it's so expressive. You get to choose and rate the candidates in such a way that it would be really nice and refreshing, actually, to have free elections, you know, not this lesser of two evils choice we're always stuck with. Well, if you have a star rating system for primary, and the primary's open, well, you need a final election. There's a lot of problems with ranked choice elections you'll hear about if you really look into it. But if you really look, a ranked choice election, if it's a single round runoff in the final, there's no mathematical problem at all. And there's no lesser of two evils conundrum. You vote your heart for your first choice, and you vote your backup. Ranked choice, single round. Now, people are quick to conflate ranked choice, single round with all the mathematical problems that happen when you have ranked choice, multiple rounds, over and over again. Yes, you end up with lots of mathematical problems. You do. Easy to conflate the two and ruin the whole idea. Quick to shoot it down that way. That's what people do when they're fighting against the change. But see, we had the ability to debate this and come up with solutions. I could debate thorium over uranium, over solar and wind, and win or lose, because people listen and they learn. There's no corruption, no capitalist influence. It's amazing what a structure of a party would make a difference. So much difference. So much difference that it's not being allowed to happen, because having that horizontally structured party is a danger to the duopoly. Therefore, indie left news seems to be hemming up everybody as an assignment. My suspicion only, but it sure smells like an assignment, indie. And I can't smell because of the COVID, but still smells like an assignment, looks like an assignment, seems like an assignment. When you hem up the dissent, you aren't fomenting discord. You're riding the coattails of Jimmy Dore, and all the content creators are eager to join along and have their content over your cabal. Network. Sad. Thousands of activists have been betrayed. We had state organizations wasted to protect your grift. Sad. Because the duopoly is a problem. Big problem. If we want any political solution, top-down structured political parties will not work. It's proven. It's undeniable. Well, can't say undeniable. You'll deny anything. You deny that the blackmail happened by saying, which I have in print, that was a business decision. Ho! That's what blackmail is. It's a choice. If it's not a choice, it's called an offer you can't refuse, indie left news. So hem up all of the dissent. Hem it up. Proud of you. You wasted the efforts of a lot of people. A lot of activists. Kamilah Harris. Renee Johnson. She was demanded to be fired too, but she had already quit KRTD Media. Yeah. Good job. And all the content creators that are hemmed up. Free to enjoy your wonderful work for distributing their work and their viewpoints across the network and getting their viewership and subscriptions up, as long as they protect your grift. Sad.